If you find yourself being angry with anyone in your life or judging them or holding unforgiveness, let me tell you something that can change your perspective. If you don't know me, my name is Tracy, and I lead my clients in past life regression, and then we talk to their higher selves to ask every question they have about their lives. A lot of questions revolve around relationships. Why did I choose the mom I did, the dad I did? What lessons am I meant to learn? And of course about love lives and partners and abusive relationships. If you can keep something in mind, it will make all of these relationships a lot easier, even the really bad ones. Now, I'm not saying stay in abusive, bad relationships. That's your decision. I'm just talking if you are in one or if you have been in one. All relationships are just lessons. Every person you have a relationship with is just a teacher. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but this is something I grabbed onto and remind myself about all the time. The saying is, love the lesson, forgive the teacher. I had a higher self hypnosis session last night, and my client has a really hard time forgiving her mom, her dad, and her stepdad for abuse and narcissistic behavior on their parts. She was told that she picked all three of these people before she came into this life to be in her life for the lessons she would learn. And her higher self told her, so she has no one to blame but herself. Now, our conscious mind doesn't remember that, but on a soul level, she absolutely did that. And she knew what she was doing because her soul knows the lessons she needs to learn. Your ego, your personality, your conscious mind may not like it, but it doesn't get any say. Those things are decided on a soul level. She had been carrying around from other lives a feeling of trapped abandonment. So, because she didn't get over it in the first life or the next life or the next life, she got to experience it again in this life in the hopes that she would finally work on overcoming it. So her father and her stepfather were here as teachers, giving her more abandonment issues in hopes that it would drive her inward to look for healing from the Creator, from Spirit. Because the healing is not going to come from anyone outside of you. It doesn't exist outside of you. And she's had a really hard time letting go of these feelings of abandonment and being wronged, and she wants an apology from them. But her higher self told her she needs to learn acceptance because these people could have easily been replaced with someone else. Just because it was that particular person, she was going to learn the lesson. It could have been any person who taught her that. So again, it goes back to the saying, love the lesson, forgive the teacher. Anyone could have been in the shoes of the teacher. The teacher is irrelevant. It's the lesson that you're after. But as humans, we tend to focus on the teacher and judging and putting blame on others. You did this, you did that. And her higher self emphasized, like many of my clients' higher selves do, the lesson for you, my dear, is to learn how to overcome it, to let go, to not hold on to these low frequency emotions and keep them trapped in your body, to have them replaying over and over in your mind. It's the fact that we're not letting go and we're not accepting that these things happened. It is what it is. That is what keeps us in pain and suffering and keeps us stuck and blocked and can cause health issues. Let me share a clip from another recent session I had. I'm going to read off my screen. This particular client wanted to know what lesson she was meant to learn by having the ex-husband that she did, and her higher self said he had a purpose. His lesson was to help her build confidence and realize that she doesn't need him. She is strong, and her lesson was to realize that no one should get away with hitting you and thinking that it's okay. In her particular case, I asked her higher self, well, did she learn the lesson? And her higher self said, no, she didn't. And this client actually went on to have another very abusive relationship. Her higher self said it goes back to self-love. She was young. She didn't know any better. It was familiar to her. It was something she had grown up with. She had to fight for herself and her boys. She had to show her boys that she was strong and that nobody should treat women like that. And believe it or not, a lot of relationships are here to drive us inward, to make us be strong so that we can come out more independent, stronger in our self-power, and loving ourselves more. They also teach us how to have strong boundaries with others, to not let others cross our boundaries in unhealthy ways, and they oftentimes teach us not to be a people pleaser. I see that a lot. With people in abusive relationships, they tend to not love themselves the way they should. They tend to not have strong, healthy boundaries, and they tend to be people pleasers. And again, I'm not advocating and saying, oh yeah, it's great that people get abused. Don't read into what I'm saying. I'm saying if you have experienced it or you are experiencing it, look at where you may need to improve in your life, where you may need to have more self-love so that you have enough love for yourself to get out of that situation, where you have strong enough boundaries that you don't let anyone treat you that way, where you don't engage in people pleasing. So circling back around, people are just teachers. You could even take an inventory of everyone in your life and say, what is this person here to teach me? And how am I doing on learning that lesson? Are they triggering things in me? Are they triggering past trauma? How do I feel when I'm around them? Do I feel upset? Do I feel angry? Do I feel judgmental? Or do I feel happy and at peace and safe and calm? If the person is triggering negative feelings and low frequency emotions in you, those are signs that there are unhealed things yet in you. So if you want to move past them and learn the lessons, it's a great thing to take this kind of inventory and look at and say, wow, that person really makes me feel insecure or angry. What is it in me that needs to be healed? Because until we ourselves learn to heal these things, we will keep attracting the same kinds of teachers to teach us the same lessons until we master the lessons. So while you might get rid of one abusive person or someone who doesn't treat you nice, someone else will be right there to take their place if it's something you still have yet to learn. Or you can do none of these things and just keep wondering why life does this to you or does that to you, or why people keep treating you this way or that way. It's totally up to you, and the healing and the journey is yours to live in whatever way you would like. This is just help and advice on how to live it from a higher self perspective, looking at it in a higher way.